This is Sims, and we are back with more ColorX Malice Unlimited, and we are starting Shiraishi's route today. Woohoo! Are you excited? I'm fucking excited! I've waited the whole game for this! According to the guide that I am using, it's not... He doesn't get all the fluff and the adorableness that in the fan service that the other boys get, and I'm disappointed by that. Why they gotta do my freaky cat boy dirty like this, but whatever, we love Shiraishi. It'll be fun. I've got chocolate in my teeth. Look, I'm hungry, but I gotta get the recording in while I can, so food comes later, this comes first. So I had a piece of chocolate to be like, maybe that'll, like a tiny piece of fucking chocolate's gonna make me like not hungry for the next like 45 minutes to an hour. Also, I might not have a full hour to record, so we're gonna have to stop when we stop, so. Anyway, we are starting in the prologue. Whoops. I forgot how to use the buttons. We can't let this go. So yeah, we're starting in the prologue, just skipping through everything that we've read. But, woohoo! We get to have the letter analyzed, so we'll get to see Shiraishi this time. We never get to see him. Have the letter analyzed. I think I'm most curious about the similarities between Tachibana's letter and the one that was previously left in the office. The envelopes and seals were the same, so we knew it wasn't a coincidence. Can we have Shiraishi analyze the letter? We could have him test the paper and fingerprints to give us a better idea of whether Adonis is actually involved. An obvious train of thought. Acquiring evidence is one of the basics of an investigation. I think it's a good idea. Is Shiraishi still at the station? I can take the letter to him. The rest of you can go over to the apartment. Oh, I'll come with you. Huh? You're talking about forensics, right? You need to know where the letter's been and who's handled it. Besides, I've already been to Matsushima's room, and I came to you because I couldn't find anything. There's no reason for me to go back there. But how are they going to get inside without you? No worries there. I'll just call the landlord. Look, Yanagi's like, fucking sus. This guy is fucking sus. Alright. Enomoto and I will go check out the apartment. You get the letter over to Shiraishi. I will. Wait, Yanagi, are you gonna leave this sketchy guy alone with Hoshino? That worries me. It's okay, I'm going to see an even sketchier guy. And we'll take precautions. I bet Tachibana doesn't know that Shiraishi is part of Adonis. I sent Shiraishi a message, and he replied saying that he was available. We decided to meet in front of the police station. Tachibana and I were walking there when... Hey, why are you walking so far away from me? You could be a little closer. I think this is a perfectly normal distance. He's like the opposite side of the sidewalk. I mean, that's a wide-ass sidewalk. I imagine that he's like where his elbow is. He's like that side, and she's like way the fuck over there, like climbing through those trees off on the right. I'm talking about the distance between our hearts. That hurts, babe. Do you hate me that much? I never said that. Also, why are you calling me babe, you weirdo? You completely distrust me. I can sense it just oozing out of your pores. That isn't... Have you ever heard the saying that eyes say as much as the mouth? Your eyes are yelling that you're uncomfortable around me. What a bummer. And here I thought the guys at the office would let the two of us be alone. But it looks like they've sent a guard dog. Maybe they're trying to make me nervous. Huh? Okazaki? Just talking to myself. Hey, can I ask you a question? Sure. As long as it's not something weird. Yay! Let's say you have a pet cat. Where do you think the cat goes while you're asleep? This sounds like some psychology test. It is! It's a great icebreaker at parties. Uh-huh. This guy is weird as shit! So, what's your answer? Let me think. It was possible that I could learn something about Tachibana depending on how I answered. I don't want to give him a weird answer. He might make fun of me. Or worse. Oh, try not to be so suspicious. These things work best when you give a natural answer. Alright then. I imagined a cute fluffy cat living with me. I'd want to sleep with it, so it would be in my bed. Oh yeah? Tachibana suddenly grinned at me. I had a bad feeling about this. Did that tell something about me? Want to hear it? Please stop trying to fluster me. Sorry. It's a test you use to gauge the distance between you and your lover. What? The cat's your lover, someone you open yourself up to, and when you're sleeping, your true self is laid bare. In other words, you'd be in bed with your lover. I mean, who would fucking be like, if I had a cat, it would be out prowling looking for ass. I mean, unless you were like, I let my cat outside, but most people, if I have a house cat, nope, my cat would be somewhere in my house. Actually, legitimately, your cat would probably be knocking all your shit off your shelves, like the asshole that it is. So that's not really, it's a test about you and your lover. See, your lover would be out there. No, legitimately a cat would probably be running around the house. 2 a.m., you're sleeping. You have a cat. What do you hear? The cat racing around the fucking house as fast as possible, knocking into everything because the motherfucker's awake. Or it's chasing the mice in your house. Who knows? But whatever. I mean, the cat's fucking awake, making fucking noise. That doesn't mean that you think that your boyfriend is doing that. It's fucking weird. Most people would say that their cat's in bed with them. Also, again, why wouldn't I want my lover in bed with me? Nah, there are lots of possible answers. In their cat bed, the sofa, the coffee table, wandering around the neighborhood. And then if I said wandering around the neighborhood, you'd say my boyfriend was a cad and was out there fucking everything that can move. And then, you should be with me instead. I wouldn't do that to you, baby. Fucking weirdo. This personality test doesn't sound very credible. I've actually studied psychology, you know. It's a pretty reliable test. Ugh, I knew I shouldn't have. I knew I shouldn't have humored him. Shiraishi asked me a lot of weird questions too, but this guy might actually be even worse. Yeah, no, Shiraishi's fun though. I mean, I kind of enjoy Tachibana too for the evil psychopath that he is, but for the rest of our walk, I ignored Tachibana's questions to the best of my ability. I was hoping you'd tell me more about yourself, Ice Queen. Oh my god, he's trying to neg you into being, I'm not an Ice Queen, I'll show you how warm I am. Like, oh my god, Tachibana, just let it go. I'll take that as a compliment. Oh, Shiraishi! I never thought one weirdo would be better than another. Shiraishi usually teased me, but right now it felt like he was an angel sent from heaven. It's Shiraishi, of course he is. I'm sorry, I missed you. I missed you in that fucking pose. They're like, hi. Who stands like that? Yusuke stands like that in Persona 5, actually. Like, the stand over the shoulder that you're like, the thing you're fighting is behind you. What are you doing? He's doing that. That sexy fucking over the shoulder look. I love it. Your face says I just saved you from something horrible. What happened? Oh, nothing. This is Chisato Tachibana, our client. Does he know him? Shiraishi. Crime Lab, Shinjuku Station, Field Ops Research 29. I see. I'd also messaged Shiraishi with the details of the job, and he seemed to have taken an interest in Tachibana. Tachibana cringed a bit after Shiraishi started gazing intently at him. Good! Is Shiraishi making you uncomfortable? Is he? Fucking is he? Now you know how I feel. I wouldn't mind this if you were a girl, but I'm not thrilled about having men stare at me. You'll just have to excuse Shiraishi. It's a habit of this. It's a habit of this? I think it's supposed to be a habit of his. Shiraishi? I think that's quite enough of that. Yes, curious indeed. What is this mercurial feeling I get from you? Oh, you noticed? I'm actually wearing a custom brand of cologne. It's supposed to reel in the ladies, but it doesn't seem to work on her. But apparently it works on guys. Guess I'm being a tease right now. We're both like, the fuck? No reaction? Oh, so you're like the Inoki guy. Shiraishi seemed disappointed. I explained the details of the request to him once again. I understand. Show me the letter. Here you go. Shiraishi cautiously examined the letter, starting with its contents, then envelope itself. While I watched him in silence, a hand clapped me on the shoulder. Of course. I'm bored. Can I ask you something else? Not right now. Shiraishi's concentrating on his work. But we're wasting time. We could be using our time better than just standing around. It's like you did this just to pick up a girl. I mean, that's like so weird. You won't gain anything from learning more about me. I don't think that's true at all. I want to be closer to you. He doesn't know when to quit. Kick him in the nuts, he'll learn. I was doing my best to ignore him so far, but he was really starting to grate on me. And do you want to learn about her that badly? I noticed that Shiraishi had suddenly looked up from the letter. He's like, don't touch my bitch. Yeah, she's my type. Shouldn't I do some research? I suppose. Or do you have other aim in mind? Well, man, I wouldn't hurt a fly. But this bitch, I'll cut her up. Seriously, saying underneath. You know it. Shiraishi really did seem to be interested in Tachibana. Hey. Yes? What? I'm talking to her, not you. Yeah. Tachibana gave us some distance, grumbling, sorry to intrude. Gave us distance, grumbling, sorry to intrude. It's just like it's not lined up, so it came out weird. Anyway, Shiraishi questioned me again. Do you notice anything about him? If I had to point quite distant at chasing women. No, not that. I'm a fool for asking you. Sorry. So, what about the letter? Did you learn anything? Visually, it does appear similar to the one from the office. I'll need to analyze the materials to provide a more concrete judgment. The problem is the coincidence of having another letter show up where you and Yanagi are. Yes, Yanagi mentioned that too. Since I have this collar, there's no need for Adonis to use such a roundabout way to contact us. Even if Tachibana's visit is a coincidence, whoever left this letter behind might be a suspect. I wonder about that. You can't say that for sure, can you? Hey, how long are you two gonna keep whispering? Let me join in! I noticed that Tachibana was looking at us anxiously. I just can't help but be curious about him. You mean that he might be directly involved with this incident? Oh, so you actually are cautious of him. That makes things much easier. Can't quite do Shiraishi's voice right now. I don't know, I'm broken. I broke myself. Shiraishi walked over to Tachibana, grinning. I'll analyze the letter for you, with conditions. Conditions? Obviously, I'm not terribly motivated to work for someone I don't know. She's going to ask you several questions. Would you mind answering them truthfully? Wait, I'm gonna ask the questions? You're a good listener. Put those skills to use. This is all too sudden. I knew that Shiraishi had some plan in mind, but I was still reluctant. This sounds like you're trying to pry something out of me. Am I a suspect now? It's normal to be cautious of strangers. Shiraishi, I think we're like, you're the strangest person we know. We know you and you're still strange. Stranger than a stranger. I didn't know if I could draw out the information that Shiraishi wanted. Perhaps my unease showed on my face. Shiraishi took one glance at me and smiled mischievously. This works better when someone who doesn't think too hard about it asks the questions. Are you making fun of me? I'm just picking the right person for the job. Go ahead and ask him whatever you want. This explains the questions that we have to ask. I was like, what? I'll be able to learn something just by watching him answer. All right. Of course, I felt butterflies in my stomach. Then, we're supposed to ask, what's your least favorite food? Yeah, what's your least favorite? Okay, yeah. Mushrooms? Shiitake mushrooms? A lot of people dislike those. Yeah, the texture. When was the first time you ate them? When was it again? Back in primary school, I think? Shiraishi staring at Tachibana hard enough to burn holes in him. Very well, then. Go on. Okay, what's your day job? What's your favorite childhood memory? I don't remember much of my childhood. It doesn't have to be anything important. A time when you played with your friends or got into a fight. And there was one guy I didn't want to lose to, so I kept challenging him over and over. A rival? I don't know. He didn't really seem to care about competing with me. What was it for you? Huh? You said you didn't want to lose, so you must have wanted something. A reward for victory or a sense of superiority. Who cares? It's none of your business. This is getting awkward. Time to change the subject. I did my best to keep asking questions that would help Shiraishi learn what he wanted to know. That's basically all of our choices in this, so. I'm surprised. You might have a talent for interrogation. Oh, really? Yeah, I'd say that those were some clever questions to ask. When a man lies, it's easy for them to come up with falsehoods about general topics or things about their daily lives. But when a man lies about his past or his preferences, there are often small contradictions or inconsistencies. Honestly, I didn't expect you to do this well. I learned something new about you today. So it's like, what's your day job? Because you can easily be like, oh, whatever, a day job. Like, but it's the little details. Let me think up my whole past. Is that a compliment? Makes sense. And just one last question for you. From me. Sure, whatever. What do you think of Adonis? They're hella scary. I think those people are all insane. I mean, okay. Just looking at the screen right now. You're not wrong. You two are proof. Right here. Crazy. But we love Shiraishi anyway. Yeah. The people all around me are scared. It's not like they're even doing anything wrong, but you never know when you might be the next target. So, if Matsushima is part of Adonis, of course we wouldn't be friends anymore, but I hope you can arrest him first. And that was an awfully smooth answer. Almost like you've rehearsed it. You sure are trying to paint me as a suspect, huh? What have I ever done to you? Nothing, but... Oh, excuse me, I need to take this. I was curious about the exchange, but I had an incoming call from Yanagi. The investigation at Matsushima's home must have turned up something. Yeah, suspicious. Hello? Hoshino, is Tachibana with you? Yes, he's not right next to me. Shiraishi's questioning him. Good. Put some distance between you two without making it obvious and listen. We searched Matsushima's home. It's staged so it looks lived in, but it also looks like nobody's ever really lived here. Huh. So Tachibana's claim that Matsushima was a friend and that he went over to his place to hang out frequently is a lie. We're heading your way now. Avoid being alone with Tachibana. Stick with Shiraishi until we arrive. All right. I mean, it's the lesser of two evils. The call ended before I had a chance to say anything else. I tucked my phone away and turned back to the other two. Tachibana's obviously suspicious. I have to avoid tipping him off. How should I let Shiraishi know that what Yanagi told me? From the way you answer those questions, I can say this with certainty. You are a liar. I was struggling to approach this delicately, but then Shiraishi just threw it in his face. Shiraishi. He has no tact. He locked an intense gaze onto Tachibana once again, cutting straight to the heart of the matter. You speak a grain of truth, hidden beneath layers of lies. And they weren't lies you made up on the spot either. You live a life where you're used to crafting lies. A lot of forgers are like you. I thought I'd been watching Tachibana closely, but Shiraishi noticed a lot of little details that escaped my notice. I mean, okay, we don't know right now that Shiraishi's part of Adonis, but like, it takes one to know one. It's kind of funny. Maybe there was no need to relay Yanagi's warning to him. While impressed by Shiraishi, I made sure to stay alert around Tachibana. Why don't you tell us what you're really up to? Don't you already know? Huh? Do you really not know? Huh. Shiraishi's initial look of skepticism sharpened into a thorny glare. My breath caught in my throat. It was as if he had locked eyes with his own nemesis. Figures. Whatever. I'm going home. Tachibana seemed to suddenly lose interest and turned his back on us. What was it again? Right, detective girl. Tell the others that the job's off. It was a hoax to begin with. Wait, what do you mean? I'll leave him be. But... I started to chase after Tachibana, but Shiraishi caught my arm. Good boy. As I objected, I heard the sounds of light footsteps approaching. Shiraishi, are you sure we shouldn't chase him? Okazaki, what are you doing here? I told you. When he was like talking, oh, they obviously didn't send Okazaki. Of course they sent fucking Okazaki to stalk us. Yanagi asked me to. He said that it was too dangerous for you to go alone. Oh, I see. Duh. I mean, Tachibana knew he was there. Yep. Anyway, are you sure about this? We can still catch him. He's right. We can't just let this go.
And there's no point in following him. If he was planning to do something to me or Hoshino, he's already done it.
That's true. I'd been alone with Tachibana until we met up with Shiraishi, with Okazaki probably following along from a distance. He hadn't done anything other than attempt to flirt and make small talk. But we don't know what he'll do next. I watched Tachibana shrink into the distance as I voiced my misgivings. We still don't know enough about the letter or Matsushima.
We get it. Be quiet for a moment.
Shiraishi's grip suddenly tightened on my arm.
Shiraishi, what's wrong?
Nothing.
She just doesn't know when to keep her mouth shut. And there's no merit to pursuing him. And in fact, it could be even worse if we did.
Is that what you think?
Exactly. You're quick on the uptake, Okazaki.
He let go of my arm and I instinctively rubbed where he had been squeezing it. Shiraishi? I wasn't satisfied with that explanation, but I knew he had to have a good reason. But what was his objective for all of this?
Who knows? Even I can't tell you that much. But? Never mind. For now, I'll take a closer look at the letter. And take care of the rest, Okazaki. You got it, my man. Spacey, it's late, so I'll walk you home.
Sure, thank you. Reluctantly, I watched Tachibana's figure finally disappear from sight. He didn't even cast a shadow. I mean, it's nighttime. I guess if he was walking in the street lamps. According to Shiraishi's analysis, the ink and envelope were a match to the previous letter planted in the office. Based on that information, there was no doubt that Tachibana had ties to Adonis. But we never discovered his objective. I still thought we should have stopped him from leaving. But he gets away and everything, and nothing ever happened. They're never brought up again. Maybe in the Adonis route, he's there, you know?
So, are you here to complain to me? You must have a lot of free time.
I just thought I'd stop by during my lunch break. I'm actually quite busy.
Sure, all right. I've already told you my reasons. Chasing him would have been meaningless.
So then tell me why it was meaningless. Why didn't we go after him? You're not the type of person to simply let an object of interest disappear.
Is that your analysis?
Not really an analysis, just a hunch.
Well, think about it. At the time, we didn't know if the letter was genuine, and Adonis probably wouldn't let anyone truly important to their plan reveal themselves. If we caught him, he'd just end up like the other pawns. Am I wrong?
That's possible, but he also could have turned out to be a valuable source of intelligence. And even if he was a pawn who knew nothing, there's no reason to let a suspect go.
Did that man interest you that much?
What?
You asked him all those questions, after all.
I only did that because you asked me to!
Oh, right. And then go ahead and ask me a few questions, too.
I don't see any need to do that. Shiraishi seemed to be back to his usual self. He's jealous that he's like,
why aren't you asking me questions? Don't you love me?
Not yet. I mean, yes, but you don't know that. So he thinks there's no point unless we can acquire new information. That went against my own beliefs, but from Shiraishi's point of view, it was the simple truth. He was only interested in solving mysteries. He was working in forensics and on these cases to satisfy his own curiosity. He was interested in the series of cases, but he wasn't interested in good or evil. It was almost as if he didn't care about the hearts of the people involved. Dun dun dun. Yeah, but I'm sure it's that nature of his. But I'm sure it's that nature of his has helped him. That's helped him solve so many cases. Something like that. I just can't understand him. No one can, but that's why we love him. He's an enigma.
Hey, still thinking about those questions?
Huh? Oh,
And don't ask me anything too difficult.
Are there even any questions that you'd find difficult to answer?
Who do you take me for? Of course. Questions about my childhood, for example.
Huh? Come to think of it, I never really asked Shiraishi about himself. Your childhood?
Oh, did you actually want to know?
Well, if you'd rather not talk about it, I'm not going to push the issue.
It's not something I'm particularly hung up about. My household was just a bit strict, so I didn't have a normal childhood, and it's kind of hard to explain.
A strict household? Do you mean you couldn't play with your friends?
Oh, not a chance. I wasn't even allowed to make any friends.
Wasn't he raised by Adonis? If I remember correct, That just makes me think he was. I don't remember, to be honest. I really don't, but that makes it sound like he was, and I feel like that would have been revealed in his route in the first game, but that's pretty harsh. Shiraishi laughed derisively, his eyes distant.
Back then, I spent every day just doing what people had decided for me. No one praised me if I did well, but they were very angry if I failed. I had to perfectly complete every task I was given, otherwise I'd be declared unnecessary.
But then again, like, he wouldn't have been raised by Adonis because Adonis wouldn't have existed because Saeki is the leader and started it. So what? And so I don't. That doesn't make any sense. So now I don't remember. I'll have to look that up. I don't know.
So I desperately worked to meet those expectations and prove my own worth.
They'll bring it back up in this route and it'll be like, oh, okay, kind of like they brought up the Yanagi killed the person who kidnapped us, but he didn't actually kill them. And I totally forgot about that whole thing till it happened. I was like, oh, okay, sure. I'm sure that was in the first game, but I don't remember it at all. It's the problem with the game and the fan disc coming out so far apart. Like, you don't remember shit. I don't remember shit. I hadn't expected Shiraishi to have such a repressed childhood. And it sounds like my own life. I was always compared to Kazuki, my talented little brother. He easily mastered things that took me so much effort to learn. No matter how hard I worked, I couldn't beat him. But I had still yearned for my parents' attention. I could succeed if I tried. I wanted to feel needed. I wanted to show them I was worth something.
How odd. I rarely talk about this subject.
Shiraishi tilted his head in bemusement, a somewhat lonely expression on his face.
So, and now you know why it's hard for me to answer questions that would apply to a typical childhood.
I'd reflexively extended my hand. Okay, not with my hand. When I brushed Shiraishi's hair with my fingers, his shoulders trembled. This is adorable. We're petting him. I'm sure he likes it because he's like a cat boy. He looks like, the fuck are you doing? He secretly enjoys it.
Hey, what are you doing?
Your story, it sounded like my own. A long time ago, I wanted my parents to praise me. I wanted someone to pat me on the head and call me good, just like this. You're a good boy, Shiraishi. I love it. I saw everyone else's parents doing it to their kids, so I wanted to feel it too. But I never got my wish. My little brother got all the attention. I just had to watch it happen every time. That's why...
So, following your train of thought, does that mean you're appraising me right now?
Sorry, I was just thinking about what I wish people would have done for me when I was a kid. But it's rude to just suddenly touch someone's head. It wasn't appropriate of me to just reach out and do that to a grown man. Feeling embarrassed, I tried to pull back, but it's fucking adorable.
Oh wait, don't stop.
This is why we love him. Oh god, he really is my favorite. Look, I love Sasuzuka too, but I think Shiraishi really is my favorite. I love this motherfucker.
Just a little longer.
I don't mind, but are you sure?
Yeah, I don't hate it since it's you.
Seeing how relaxed Shiraishi's expression was, I patted his head again.
How mysterious. I've never felt this way before.
His voice was gentle. I felt happy seeing him this way. Until just now, I'd always thought that I'd never understand him. But maybe it's because I never really tried. I'm sure even Shiraishi experienced joy and sorrow. There had to be things that moved his emotions. If I was able to figure out one of them, it would help me approach him. Now I know we have something in common. The journey starts here. To falling in love. Oh! Yay! I love it. That's all we need. No, I'm not. I'm lying. That's not all we need, but... Yay! Oh. Interesting. I wonder if this always happens after Shiraishi's story, or if it only happens after you've finished Shiraishi and Yanagi. If anyone's played the routes in a different order, let me know. Because, like, I'm curious. Because it's like everyone else, like, after story, and then this pops up. And it seems like it's more... I mean, the Adonis route doesn't open until after you've played Shiraishi and Yanagi, but I'm just wondering if you have to go through all of the prologue options to get this. So once you've completed all the prologues, you get this. You know what I mean? Anyway. I see. You've obtained data on her patterns, but nothing particularly insightful. I don't remember Ray's voice, so. Spacey Hoshino is unremarkable in both talent and spirit, according to you. The young man bowed his head in agreement. Oh, we're supposed to be him still. I nodded slightly. So there's nothing obviously special to her. Then what of Zero's obsession? Oh, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not blaming you for being unable to discern that. It's so funny that they're covering him even though we know it's Tachibana. And actually, if you get in close enough to the screen, you can definitely see his face in the shadows. Like, we know it's him, so why are they like question mark, and they don't talk? Like, most likely Zero himself doesn't even know. So there must be something. I reassured the young man, carefully choosing my words. In a sense, he was a personification of Adonis itself. He had been born and raised in Adonis to be a doll or puppet offering its life to our leaders. Okay, so that makes sense. He was But how did... I guess I can't remember how Saeki ended up becoming the leader because Saeki's not that fucking old. So there had to have been... If somebody like Tachibana, roughly our age, was raised by Adonis, if Shiraishi was raised by Adonis to be a puppet, how did Saeki, who's like early mid-20s, end up the leader? I don't remember that. I'm sure it'll be explained in the Adonis route again, because they at least like to kind of rehash things so that for people like me who are like, just in case you forgot. I forgot fucking all of it. Anyway, except for my love for Shiraishi and that he went to jail. So I remember that. But anyway. If I told him that he had failed to meet my expectations, it would be akin to sentencing him to death. In the future, there's no need for further investigation. Is this what happens to... We were always wondering what happens to Tachibana. Are they going to kill him? We still gain something from this. Its consequences will ripple out like a stone thrown into a pond. Indeed, your contact with that group will serve to feed their caution. And that's sufficient. The day when they prove their usefulness will come soon enough. When the time comes, the fissures you've created in between them will tear open and drive them apart. Lies! We're getting closer together, says me, patting Shiraishi on the head. No, never mind. You need not concern yourself with these matters. I sometimes found myself pondering things when I observed them. These poor puppets were trained to dedicate every fiber of their being to their ideals. If they ever lost those ideals, what would become of them? Let me ask you something. If I died, what would you do? Oh, because he does die, doesn't he? In, like, one of the ending... Oh! Ta-da! Tachibana's gonna come back and try to overthrow Adonis. Is that what's gonna happen? I'm just throwing things out there for the Adonis route. I don't know. Don't tell me. I might be done with the Adonis route by the time you see this. Who knows? It was just a joke. Don't read too much into it. I smiled bitterly, mentally apologizing to the man. But you and I... What was I even trying to say? For better or worse, I never managed to complete that thought. As if perfectly timed to interrupt us, a message arrived from Zero. I sighed and dismissed the man. Yes, Zero. What is it? Just a hint of trouble. For a short time we lost connection to the color subject. Ray, what did you do? What do you mean? I can't do that. I can't. Like, Saeki's voice is Zero. Here's Saeki. He's always happy, and it's really weird to try to flip him into Zero mode, but I gotta get Ray. We gotta work them out, because I gotta get the voices different, but they're kind of the same right now. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Scheme in the shadows all you like, but do not get in my way. Between the two of us, who's hiding more secrets? Excuse me? And never mind. Rest assured I've not forgotten the vow I made to you. I'll always do what I believe is necessary for our nation. That's all you ever say. And I've grown tired of hearing it. If there's something you want to say, then out with it. Something I want to say? Very well. I've warned you before. Takeru Sasasuka is an extreme threat to us. If we let him continue to operate as is, your cover within the police department will be compromised. What? Zero works for the police? I'm sorry. Shh. Just pretending I don't know right now. What are you saying? It's Mochita, isn't it? I'm just kidding. Obviously I know it's Sayaki, but it's just funny. This is hardly a new concern, and there are plenty of other people who might discover that besides Sasazuka. That isn't the problem. Now that he's interacting with the color subject, it could lead directly to you. So you want me to leave the subject alone? Ray, you always beat around the bush. If I'm exposed, I can always make a deal. People like Takeru Sasazuka will eventually make their way to our side. We have the resources to ensure it. No, we get Shiraishi as a pet and we kill all of our friends. That's how it works. I wonder if that's the ending we continue off of. I'd be okay with that. I'm not gonna lie, that was a good bad ending. You're like, I had to kill all my friends, which sucks, but I got to keep Shiraishi as a pet. That's not that bad. I mean, for a bad ending, I guess. I'm sad about having to kill my friends, but... Come to the dark side, we have cookies. And macaroons. I wonder if that's true. How can you possibly be this laissez-faire about this? And how can you be this stubborn? I understand your position, and that's enough for now. This conversation never gets us anywhere. I'll repeat myself, Ray. You will not lay a hand on Takeru Sasazuka or the collar subject. I still want to observe them. Fine. When the line disconnected, I felt as if something between the two of us had been severed as well. If you're seeking something other than the future of Adonis, it seems inevitable that our ideals will diverge one day. I quietly sighed and looked around at the temple. Temple that we had built together. It is impossible to eliminate all cries of suffering from the entire world, Yuzuru. You're still looking for a pure world of goodness, but it can't exist. Yuzuru? You mean Yuzuru Sayaki? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna guarantee that you have to finish all the prologue in order to get to that point. To be continued went to be continued, scary, dark can be continued. We let you know the day. What? We let you know the guy. Wait, what? Interesting. Cool. I wonder if that's... Hold on. No. It's weird, because, like, where does that fit into here? Does it? Oh, you know what I bet it is here. Prologue, Mysterious Client. I noticed when I was playing this that we didn't have... We had all these check PC, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, we didn't have Shiraishi, but then there was something else. Epilogue, that's what it was. I was missing something else here. And I figured, oh, it's in Shiraishi's route. But I guarantee you, yes, you have to do all the choices in the prologue. Doesn't matter what order you do them, and then you get the epilogue. That makes sense. Okay. Shiraishi, Chapter 1. Oh, wait. Okay, are you guys ready for this? We're gonna do, remember, I'm going to mute myself. I'm gonna crank up the volume. You guys have to pay attention and read because of the intro thing. So get ready to do just that. I will see you in a minute or two when it's done.
俺君にすっごく興味があるんだよね。どこかに閉じ込めて一日中観察したいくらい。ムスッとしちゃって。君って本当に俺が嫌いなんだね。君は知らないだけだ。世の中には平気で人を殺せる人間がいる。誰を傷つけても心が痛まない人間もね。 君が俺に対してそんな風に笑うの初めてだよ。あれこれ考えてたけど、そっか、こんなことで君は笑うんだ。俺ね、君のこと嫌いじゃないよ。君が俺のことを信じれば信じるほど、俺は本来の自分を保てなくなる。それが嫌で気持ちが悪くて苦しいんだよ。こうして手をつないで一緒に家に帰るのも全部君とできて嬉しい。こんな日が来るなんて思わなかった。その約束も全部嘘だ。最初から何一つ本当のことなんて。俺は君が君らしくあることを願ってる。待ってて。俺は絶対に君のところに帰ってくる。
God damn! That almost got me. like obviously, look, I've only ugly cried in one game, but like, damn, like, even though I know what happened, like, I remember he went to jail. That little bit of the ending, like, wait for me, I'll come back to you. Ah! Why do you do this to me? Jesus Christ. That tugged at my heartstrings and made me a little teary. Like, I'm like, I know we'll get him back, but it's still fucking so sad. It's sad because you're like, that was the happy ending. What? Fucking poor Shiraishi. Although, I mean, you have to say, like, I think he had the best character development. Like, everybody else was, like, a decent person. And, like, okay, Sasuzuka's a bit of an asshole. But he didn't change. He's still a bit of an asshole. He's just slightly nicer. Like, Okazaki's still fucking crazy. Enomoto's still fucking... They're all basically, like, oh, you know, I had some bad and I fixed myself a little bit. Shiraishi's the one that made leaps and bounds. Like, he was just like, I don't fucking give a shit about anything. And then now he's like, but I love you and I'm gonna go do the right thing and go send myself to jail. He had the best character development. I'm sorry. That's just because I personally love him the most, but none of those other assholes would go to jail for me. Well, and some of the bad endings, they probably died for me, right? But whatever. We're used to that. We can get through a little bit, so. It had been over a year since the X-Date cases were resolved. I'd been dealing with a lot since then. Not only crimes in Shinjuku, but calls for help, public grievances, as well as welfare checks and neighborhood patrols. It was a busy day today, and before I knew it, my lunch break had passed by. Good work today, Hoshino! Did you bring your lunch? I feel like we read this already. Masanobu Mochida, 33, Special Regions Crime Prevention Office. He's not that much older than some of our boyfriends. Yes, what about you, sir? But he's still the most dad. Like, I usually saw him happily eating the lunch that his wife had prepared. However, today... My wife's visiting the in-laws. Oh, I'm sorry. Perhaps I had unwittingly tread upon a subject that was better left avoided. Well, try not to let it get you down. Huh? Oh, it's not like that. Our marriage is doing just fine. She's going to tell her parents that a second kid's on the way, and it's a good chance for our daughter to meet her grandparents. Your daughter's never met their grandparents? Do they live overseas? Is your wife a foreigner? What the hell? Like, they might live far away, but your grandparents... Your daughter is at least a few years old. Ah, I see. Sorry for jumping to conclusions. I should have known better. Things between Mochida and his wife always seemed to be going swell. As far as Mochida was concerned, divorce seemed rather unlikely. However, although I'd misunderstood, he didn't look happy about it. No, I mean, I can manage house chores, so I'm getting along fine. But it's awfully lonely to return to an empty house every night. Fucking Mochida. Mochida is the human being everybody wants to find. Someone who just loves you so much. Like, you're not here and I miss you. It's been 5 minutes. I know, but I'm sad. Like, But, like, it's still like, I'm totally fine, you go do your own thing. I will miss you so much. Like, fucking Mochita. I know how that feels. When my brother spends the night at a friend's place, I get a little lonely too, especially because my boyfriend's in prison. Right? I don't know how I ever survived when I was still a bachelor. Familiarity can be a scary thing. As Mochita chuckled, I can imagine Sayeki chiming in. Oh, but he's in jail too. There he is, bragging about his happy marriage as always. Meanwhile, I'm still battling loneliness as a young bachelor. You know what I mean, don't you, Hoshino? Yes. It was easy to imagine his cheerful retort. Of course, he wasn't here. There was no way he could be. After all, Did he die? In Shiraishi's route? Well, no, because I mean, like, in Yanagi's route, Yanagi was the end-all, be-all. So he must have disappeared in Shiraishi's route, or we assumed he was dead? I can't remember. I know there was, like, explosions and things happening, and I'm pretty sure that was Shiraishi's route. Maybe, or that was somebody. I don't remember. I don't remember. I really don't. But he wouldn't actually be dead. We would have thought he was, if anything, because each one added a little more story and more, like, meat to the story. And, like, so in Shiraishi's route, which we would have done before Yanagi's, Yanagi would have been the end-all be-all because he's supposed to be the poster boy, right? We would have found out, we would have known about Shiraishi, and we would have found out about... But did Shiraishi go to jail in Yanagi's route? Whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, we think he's he's either in jail or we think he's dead, but he's not actually. Anyway. Hey, Hoshino, you don't look too good. Sorry. I guess you're not fully recovered yet. It's no surprise given everything you've been through. Even I can hardly believe it. No matter how much I tell myself it's not true, facts are the facts. Mochita's eyes were downcast, his face solemn, but his voice is always happy because that's just the way I read him. Sayeki had turned out to be Zero, the leader of Adonis. What? Sorry. Adonis, after Incident E, the terrorist organization behind the X-Date incidents, they executed highly disruptive acts of domestic terrorism. Thanks to Adonis member Kageyuki Shiraishi's tip, the police raid of the HQ, resulting in the death of Adonis leader Yuzuru Sayeki and arrest his number 2, Rei Mikuni. Okay, I guess he's dead. I don't remember that. Many Adonis leaders have been arrested, but police are still hunting for all the members. So I guess it was just a slightly different alternate universe ending, but anyway. Shiraishi had also figured out that Rei Mikuni had been one of the Adonis leaders. If only it were all a big mistake. A fleeting nightmare. When I'd recovered my memories and learned Zero's true identity in an interview, everything had gone dark. With my own hands, I had taken the life of someone who'd been terribly dear to me. Oh, we killed him? God, I don't remember that at all. Hey, Hoshino! Yes? I hate to sound like a broken record, but I've told you this time and again since you came back to the Force. And I'll say it as many times as it takes. You didn't make the wrong choice. Mochita clapped me on the shoulder, his voice resolute and firm. Fucking Mochita, he's just the best. I know you take your job and responsibility seriously, so you probably can't help but dwell on it. But stop blaming yourself over what might have happened. What we have right now is real. You did the right thing. Got that? Yes, sir. Zero had put collars similar to mine on other criminals and apparently tried to kill them. In the end, without their leader, Adonis ceased to function as an organization, and the countdown to X-Day came to a screeching halt. Shiraishi had leaked the location of their hideout to the police, and the collars had been disarmed, saving many lives. If I hadn't pulled the trigger, the whole affair might have ended in a far more tragic way. You're right. After all the trouble I went through to rejoin the police, I can't be like this. I'm sorry I made you worry. Just try not to dwell on it. I gotta say, I'm really glad to see that you haven't changed. What do you mean? You hesitate and question yourself, but in the end you always do the right thing and move forward. You went through a terrible ordeal, but you survived and made it back to us. Not just anyone can do that. You're right, were we like in... Well, I mean, then they kind of showed that in the intro thing. But we lost our... Weren't we there for like months, or we were there for a while. Right? Because I think I remember playing it and being like, the fuck? Wait, what? This is the end? And then it was like, oh, everything's fine. Oh, okay. But Shiraishi's going to jail. Wait, what? His kindness and his words seeped into me, and I missed when we loaded this because I was thinking, like, what day it is. Thank you, sir. Sure thing. Oh, damn, look at the time. I should get going. Gotta get that lunch deal I wanted before it sells out. And don't forget to eat, Hoshino. With a wave, my commanding officer grabbed his wallet and jogged off. I owe that man so much. He'd always looked out for me, not just since returning to his beliefs, but ever since I joined. Even now, he still took time to check in on me. He had said that I hadn't changed, but that was also true for him. Mochida had sensed my unease since returning to work and tried to talk to me about it. Shiraishi's part might be a little bit longer because we had that epilogue which took up some time, and I don't think I can do our normal hour and 10 plus minutes today, so maybe we'll have to make some of hers longer. But our end part is always an hour, so I don't know, we'll see. My sentiments reflected his, that not just anyone could be that compassionate. The weather's nice today. I think I'll have lunch on the roof. I headed to the roof, carrying my lunchbox and a letter that Yanagi had given me this morning on the way to work. I sat down on a bench and opened my lunch. It was my typical meal of an omelet, octopus-cut sausages, and apples cut to resemble bunnies. Seems like a lot of work. Shiraishi would have teased me for this. When we had just met, he had commented on my lunch being childish. However, he then admitted that he liked cute things and had given me some animal crackers. Fucking Shiraishi, I love him. At the time, I hadn't trusted him yet. Now, it was a trivial but happy memory. Wow. Good God, the editing. He was clumsy in his own way too, but he always thought of ways to make me happy. I found myself smiling as I recalled our time together. It had been December of last year. I'd undergone numerous interviews with Shiraishi attending. He had been interrogated before me, and apparently he had told the police that I was a friend. There had been rumors about us within the police station, but he had stubbornly denied that we were in a relationship. He was trying to protect me. We had to keep our relationship a secret. That wasn't all. For a year, he had been by my side protecting me while I'd lost my memory. Oh, we were there for a year! Damn! My memory of that time was indistinct. According to the doctors, memory loss was a common side effect of psychological trauma. Oh my God, so wait. Was it really a year? I mean, I knew it was a while, but like, shit. There are things that I do remember. So like, all the X Day stuff, let's just say it was like 28, it's 20XX, right? So like, whatever, year one, X Day's happening in December. Then, following year in December, we came out, and now it's basically, everyone else is the following year, like 4 or 5 months later. Ours is like a year plus later. Wow. I forgot about that. Shit. Anyway. He'd always been beside me, looking nearly on the verge of tears. I would never forget his expression. Aww. It was thanks to Shiraishi's painstaking efforts that I was here today, behaving like I used to, without any lingering symptoms. So we were like with him and in love with him for like a year. So we've been with Shiraishi the longest. And he's in Jama. After I had physically recovered, I had been at a loss as to what to do with my life next. Should I resume being a police officer? Did I still have what it took? Then I'd remember what Shiraishi had told me when we were both pursuing the X-Day cases.
And there are also officers like her, who will do everything in their power to help others. She spends her days lending an ear to countless people, listening earnestly to what they say and thinking hard about how she can help them. Her actions may not be the wisest, and that's just the kind of person Officer Spacey Hoshino is.
His route's going to be a lot of this, isn't it? It's going to be like flashbacks and not a lot of actual him right now, isn't it? That's going to make me so mad. I hadn't done anything special. However, he had acknowledged me as a police officer and vouched for me. On top of that, he had wished harder than anyone for me to return to my normal self. I want to face the truth of who Shiraishi and Sayeki were. I don't want to run from it. After grappling with the decision, I decided to return to the police. Shiraishi had probably known I would do so. That must have been partly why he had insisted that we were only friends, to avoid making trouble for me. He's protected me so many times. I thoughtfully finished my lunch and looked at the letter I had brought with me. The envelope was addressed to Eiji Yanagi from Kageyuki Shiraishi. I set aside my empty lunchbox and took out the contents of the envelope. It's my cat stationery! Of course it is!
Dear Eiji Yanagi, how's the black cat I asked you to take care of? Is she eating properly? I've grown quite used to life here. In fact, the food is more luxurious than I anticipated. However, it tastes blander than its appearance suggests. I always have to eat alone now.
Sharing a meal with others was more valuable experience than I expected. Anyway, I often find myself with a lot of free time, and there's nothing worth observing in here, though. I suppose that can't be helped, so I've been reviewing my memories with the black cat to pass the time. I hope I can play with her again soon. That's like an, I miss you. Oh! I see, so he's eating alone. He often forgets to eat if you don't remind him, though, so I should be glad for that. Yanagi had received this letter from Shiraishi about a month ago. One day he told me that he had something to show me and asked me to come to his office. I wasn't sure whether to show you this, but you'd probably be upset with me if I didn't. Then he had handed me a letter. It's from Shiraishi. The letter read... Ahem. Dear Eiji Yanagi, it's a curious feeling addressing you so formally. It also feels odd to ask if you're doing well. After all, I know that you take care of yourself and you've always been in good health. I admit that I'm more worried about the black cat that I entrusted to you, as she can get dejected even in the best of times. And so I hope she's in good spirits. As sometimes she acts happier than she really is, so make sure to keep an eye on her. If she's feeling down, tell her some kind words. I'm sure she'll cheer up if you cook her something tasty. I tried cooking for her before, but I failed. However, I know that your current culinary skills would be up to the task. I do slightly regret that I didn't take the time to observe your cooking more closely while I had the chance. So this goes without saying, but please take care of the black cat. I'll have to break off our friendship if anything happens to her. Is this black cat supposed to be me? Black cat! Previously, when Kageyuki Shiraishi purchased a capsule toy for the protagonist, they exchanged a cat cell phone strap. Shiraishi said that because it reminded him of the protagonist, he'd take the black cat. Right, I forgot about that. Yeah, he can't send it directly to you, so he's been sending them here instead. He's no end of trouble for me, but he did take the time to write them. I've been thinking about writing back. He probably won't be happy unless I mention the black cat. Oh, but... You won't be writing the letter, not directly, but I think we can tell him how the cat is doing. Are you sure? This is going to be so sad if this is the route, and I'm going to be so fucking mad. Get him out and let me have my man. Jesus Christ, I can't. This will kill me. This route might kill me. I don't know. And Shiraishi we're talking about. He'd probably keep sending letters out of spite until we reply to him. Long ones. Daily. Yeah. I could definitely imagine him doing that. I'd like to avoid him breaking off our friendship, too. Yanagi chuckled. I told him some positive things to relay about me. Then, the next letter came. I can't observe her at all, so tell me exactly how she's doing, was what was written. Yanagi and I had both laughed at that. We'd put our heads together to write things that Shiraishi would like to hear, so his recent letters had been more cheerful. Still, he wants to play with me. He'd probably do that whether I was a cat or not. While imagining Shiraishi teasing a black-furred cat, I put the letter away. Though it was indirect, I was happy that I was able to communicate with Shiraishi. Still, I'm lonely without him here. Me too. It had been over 3 months since I'd seen him. When I saw the streets that we walked together, or the phone charm that he'd given me, it made me miss him even more. I wonder what he's up to now. Ha ha! We'll find out, but not in this part, because... Oh, he's having memories. Aw, that's right! Yes, they always refer to him as being a number, didn't they? Yeah, okay, I kind of sort of remember that. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this part up here, and we will continue in the next part. So, and like I said, Shiraishi's might be an extra part, because we normally get perfectly, 6 parts, and then the 7th is the bad endings. But we had the epilogue, which took up some time. So, it's either that, or we might still get it, but our after scene and our phone conversation has to be in the bad ending part, which, I mean, we've been doing the phone conversation. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, but we'll continue this next time. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.